Yes. So again, thank you guys for joining the advanced live training part 2. We're going to dig in a little bit deeper from the last couple webinars. So Tim's going to lead this one today, and Robin is joining us, who is our awesome colleague. And she is a data integration manager. So if you guys are ever writing into support, first of all, you probably talked to her. And if we've helped ingest and onboard your catalog, you've talked to her as well. Or if you need to do that in the future, now you know who she is, and you should be her best friend because she rules. So she's going to chime in at the end, and we can do a little Q&A about some more in-depth data discussions. And Robin and I are also going to be answering your questions as they come up while Tim is going through the training. So just make sure your questions are in the Q&A section. You can do it in the chat, but we might not get to it till a little later, so that's the best place to do it. Anything else? I think that's it.
That's the
Without
basic
further
stuff.
ado,
Yeah.
take it away, Tim.
Thank you very much. Great to have everybody here, and definitely to have Robin with us. I'm probably may even ask you, Robin, for a few things as we go, because today we're going to be digging into the contact database and mailing lists. We'll go through the email creator, how to build an email that looks real nice, and all the stats that you get from sending the emails out of DISCO. We're going to look at reports, share security, and custom fields, and merging duplicates, replacing audio. And we're going to talk a bit about data, like having your data nice and clean, and how that helps us as well as you. So let's start looking at contacts. On the left-hand column, we have our tools, which you can always collapse in case you weren't aware. And I'm in the contact database right now. Each contact is pretty simple as far as the amount of information that you can carry. Notice that you can edit contacts just by, choosing the pen on the side here and changing information right here on the table. You can also select multiple, and then if you hit the pen, you can edit both at the same time. So maybe this is actually in Los Angeles. So that's a nice multiple edit option. Do it nicely. Then you click the check to complete the edit. Another thing is that I've selected these multiple contacts, and in the actions area, I can now do various things because they're selected. If you click into a contact, you can see various information. Obviously, there's the basic contact details. Right here, hold on a sec. Oh yeah, tags. So there are different tags, and the writer's tag is very particular. It is different from all the other tags because as soon as you apply it, it actually opens up some extra fields, publisher, acts, and PRO. On a normal contact, you won't see these options unless you add the writer's tag. And that connects the writer back to the writer's tab on the metadata for a song. A really major point of confusion is when you're choosing the publisher for a writer, when you're on the writer's tab. Let's just go there really fast to make this make as much sense as possible. So I'm on the metadata for this song on the writers tab. When I go to select writers here, it's looking to the contact database for any contact that has the writer tag on it. And when I select Bob, it automatically fills the publisher and the PRO that's on his writers tab. A lot of people think that if they add a contact, add a new contact, I'm adding a publisher. A lot of people go and do this and add a new contact as a publisher, and then they expect this to appear on the Writers tab as a publisher option. Unfortunately, that isn't going to happen. The only way that you can get a publisher to appear on the Writers tab is by filling in this publisher's field on an actual contact. So hopefully that hasn't confused you too much, but just know this is very specific to a writer type contact. What else
Tim,
is
there is a, sorry.
Yeah, no,
I'm going to jump in when questions feel appropriate. Bob is asking, is there going to be a place to add individual composer IPI numbers, which we don't have that now. We usually suggest people to just add that as a notes in the contacts card. But we've heard that request a lot, so we'll add another note in the future requests for the team that's important to you.
Yeah, it's something that we've been discussing. You know, the Writers tab and the contact database are extremely simple. We kind of initially built them for bare bones use, and there are a lot of holes as far as like real rights management. And so that will be developed in the future, but right now DISCO is not the ideal rights management place. So you can either just make notes like this for extra information like IPI numbers, but you know, it's not ideal in that you'd probably have another database somewhere with that information. So a contact card, let's look at this contact card here. No, that's no help to us. So you'll just note there's this activity area. Once we've assigned a playlist or multiple playlists to a contact or bulk emailed to this contact, all the playlists that we shared with them will appear in this in this activity area, and it will show their access. And we will go and take a look at this a bit deeper in a minute. But what I want to do is talk about importing contacts in bulk. So you saw me create a contact before, just a single contact. I can also import contacts from a spreadsheet. Now, there's two key differences. I can import the contacts on a spreadsheet directly into the contact database, and that's all good. But what I actually recommend is going to the mailing lists, because you probably already have your contacts broken out into segmented mailing lists from some other system like MailChimp or you know, any other email platform. So I recommend actually importing your contacts already segmented into mailing lists, because they're going to all be pulled together in the contact database anyway. So let's create a new mailing list for music supervisors. You can choose right now what the sender display name would be for this particular mailing list, even though you can change that in the email creator. It's sending from my email. You have to have a business address. It is the law. So let's just make one up. Yeah. Let's see it try. So you can lie, but ideally it's your actual address. So I've created a mailing list. It's got no contacts. So let's go and import contacts from a spreadsheet. We could also choose from existing contacts, but let's do this. So on my computer, I already have a CSV ready to upload. This is really important, folks. You really should have permission to email people. So this is the part where I make sure that my spreadsheet that I've created matches up with the spreadsheet in DISCO. So it looks like it has perfectly, but I may have needed to say, actually, you know, this is the phone number and this is the location, but obviously it's the other way around. So we'll switch it back. For tags, and Robin, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I just comma separated tags in the column of tags on my spreadsheet. Okay, let's see. So this is a really fun part of importing contacts. It can break like this, and sometimes you need our help. Robin, help. I might have to go and fix that spreadsheet.
Can you just remove that address and for the purposes of uploading and
yeah, let's just delete them.
Yeah, just delete that one and then try again.
Okie dokie. Let's go back. So little things can break the import. This is what we're going to talk about later on to do with like clean data. And sometimes it's not clear initially what actually causes the problem. And it takes us a bit of time to dig in. All right. Hooray. So we're looking at our mailing list called music supervisors, and there's all the information. And if I go to my contact database, they've all appeared here. And if I go into any of these contacts, I'll see that they are in a mailing list called music supervisors, which I can view from here. Everything's interconnected. Are there any questions about the contact database and the mailing lists that are coming through about what we just did?
Yes. Someone is asking about the address field not being visible here.
So at the moment, we just have a location field and not a full address field. These are all things that potentially are going to expand on this database in the future. But again,
so question for, oh, sorry.
No, you go.
Question for Robin on that. If someone has a column with the address in a spreadsheet, could we put that in the notes section so they at least retain the information?
You can, but it will create the notes oddly. I believe that notes are also comma separated. Or will be shortly. So I would not do that. I would just keep the spreadsheet with the address in it, and then you have that available to you on your local machine. And later, if we do add complete address information, you'll just be able to re-upload the same spreadsheet.
Great.
Yeah. I guess the big thing here is just to think very simply about this, and the purpose of this contact database is really a name and email and a way to segment these people for the purposes of pitching music to them, as opposed to the actual main database where you store every little bit of information about these people. Is there another question there, Katrina?
Yeah. Can you import a spreadsheet of information into the Writers tab so it reflects there?
That is on the metadata CSV import, you can import all of the writers and their splits and information. So that's to do with the general metadata import for DISCO and not the contacts import. All of the writers that are imported on that CSV will automatically be added to the contact database though. So it is connected once you import into that area. there's a question about tags, and that is exactly what's happening over here in the tags. So we've tagged this person as a supervisor, but what kind of supervisor are they? And then you can have trailer, film, TV, advertising, video game, promo. I think show invite, various levels of VIP. Of course, every supervisor is a VIP, but you know, there is a hierarchy there. So you can add all those tags, and then you can create mailing lists, you know, based on those tags. Some other helpful things are that you can rearrange your table just by clicking on the headers, which is nice.
2 more questions. What happens to duplicates?
What happens to duplicates? So, Robin, do you want to talk on duplicates?
My question was, we're referring to duplicate contacts, correct?
Yes, yes.
You can't upload duplicate contacts. So if you try and upload a duplicate with the same email address as a contact that already exists in the database, it will overwrite the existing contact. So that's a good way to update contacts. I'm answering the question right now. How do you update contacts? You just update the contact with the same email address and the contact will be updated. If you try and upload a CSV with duplicate email addresses in the same column, so you have 6 different people and the same business email address loaded, the CSV won't upload. It will request that you only have 1 email address per user, and that's because we don't want you to accidentally make a bad impression on your clients by sending 6 different email blasts to the same email, which you would be able to if you were able to add the same email to your blast several times.
So what's really critical about all of that is you can't have the contact with the 2 lines would not ever appear here with the identical email address. Updating, you can do it right here. Just click to edit, or you can upload a CSV to update, or you can click into a contact and update here by editing. Add notes to your contacts, add them to mailing lists. So there's quite a few ways, and again, to bulk edit, you can select multiple and do that. Whatever you change is going to just overwrite all of those columns. And I've selected multiple here. I can say add to or remove from lists. That's a mailing list. So I could add those all to this music supervisors list, remove them from the music supervisors list, or create a brand new list with those 3 contacts. And of course, you've got search. So it's nice and easy to find things. Okay, so yeah, say you wanted to make show invite, a mailing list of show invites, supervisors you want to invite to shows. I'd do the search first, show, a show invite, show invite, show invite, show invite. Then I'd select them all. Actions, add to list, show invites. I'd actually do this by city, of course, but that is now a mailing list called show invites. And that's how I would say show invites for New York. I just need to put a few of the words from those 2 things. Mailing list. Cool, so I've created some mailing lists. Let's go to the email creator and actually use them. So the first thing you see in the email creator when you open it is all of the campaigns that you have created. So I'm actually going to just jump to this other Disco for this. So here are 3 different campaigns. You can see that there are 2 drafts, one that's been sent, how many recipients, date, These are cool because you can, again, rearrange by status or any of these headers. Actions. Let's just say I made the coolest looking email known to man. I've already worked on it or sent it. So I just come here and I can duplicate it. And that way you only have to create the template one time, and then you can use it over and over and over again, just replacing the data. But I'm actually
And
just
real
going
quick,
to go.
as far as templates go, if you're new to the email creator and you've been using another service like MailChimp or Constant Contact, and you would like some direction and help with importing contacts and any templates that you've already created, we can help with that as well. So let us know.
Yeah, we can definitely help with that. Talk to us through support if you can't figure out how to do certain things with the creator. Instead of using that template though, let's start from scratch. So new email. So we've got these different tabs across the top, and we sort of walk through them as we set up an email. The first is, who are we going to send this email to? I really like this because you can create different rules on the fly to make a list instead of having a pre-made mailing list. At the end of the day, it's probably smarter just to have a pre-made mailing list. So let's go to our music supervisors in LA. We're in a different DISCO right now, so you can't see those other mailing lists that we just created. Actually, you know what, let's just do it over here. I like it better. It's cleaner. So let's do music supervisors. In the middle of the screen, I can see all of the people that this is going to be sent to based on these rules. I can't edit here. I can't just like remove one of these somehow. I'd have to create a rule to remove one of them. So add a rule, name is not why isn't that working? I'm starting to confuse myself now. You can definitely, yeah, you can switch between all the rules or any of the rules to narrow things down. So if any of these rules are true, let's see, I have such a narrow number of things to work with here that I'm just going to keep it simple. We'll just start with our mailing list to music supervisors. The next part of this is email details. We've got the name of our campaign. That's internal. We only see that. Your email subject is obviously what the outside world is going to see. So, however you like to name your emails. Send a display name, where's it coming from, and definitely your business address, which is part of the law around sending out bulk emails. There's this template tab. I don't ever use it, so I just skip past it because there's really just two templates. And we just go to edit content. So when you land here, it is already, we have a few different options that are already just sitting here. If you don't like these, you can just get rid of them. So it's very similar to MailChimp in that we build with blocks. You drag a block on, insert the top. So let's throw in an image. And let's go with this amazing image. Every block has various settings, background color. This is going to be the best looking email ever. Vertical and horizontal padding, so that's the space around this. And you can just play with this as you go. I can link to this image right here just by adding a URL. And then you can play with the actual width and height of the image. So there's our header. It's really pretty. There's lots of different text boxes. So you can have a single column, double column, combinations of images and columns. What is nice about the text box though, is that you can still add images within a text box. So I'm going to get rid of the text, choose this little image icon. I'm gonna find an image. Again, I can add a link to that image. And mess with the height. So there's my image sitting on the left, and then on the right, I could talk about this. And I actually have got some pre-written things here. Okay. Now let's say I want to come back and change this image. If I just click on it, see it gets that green border, and then this becomes orange. I could come in and change the image out. Oh, you know, it's the wrong image. I actually wanted to choose this really cool one. Another thing that we can add inside of a text box is a button, and that button can link out. Oops. The button can link out somewhere, or the button can link to an existing playlist inside DISCO. So this is a playlist that's in my DISCO account that I previously created. Change the coloring. Okie dokie. What else have we got here? Merge tags. So people that want to say, well, actually, let's do that in this next one. Just note, I've been editing this block, and on the right, its settings have been sitting open here. Again, messing with background color and padding and font size. You can just type whatever you want, and it will change all the font in one go. Of course, you can do like bold. The actual font, you can't change the font. We have one font, just because across all the different email programs that might read this email, too many fonts cause real problems. Obviously, a system like MailChimp, I think they've got, 10 or 15 different fonts. And that's something that, our email creator version 2 will get more flexibility like that. If you want to change the actual font size, we've just provided these basic size options for titles, or you can change it over here. So then I save that, and that's my beautiful bit of information. Let's do an introduction here. Now, merge tags, where it says hi first name, hi last name, and it auto fills that information. So I put in a default just in case there was no name in the contact database. So this is pulling from the contact database. And even though the contact database has the name column and first and last names are together, this is smart enough that it just separates out the first name or the last name or both, which are those options there. Okay, save that. playlist blocks. So I'm going to drop a playlist down here, edit. So that pen changes. So we're opening up this right-hand column, choose the playlist that I want to sit on here. So
and this right here is like one of the main benefits of using our email creator versus other systems, because you can just pop a playlist straight into the body of the email. It's not going to embed, but it's great to just have it look like that, and it'll just open into the public playlist page. But yeah, I think this is like an amazing addition to have when you're sending newsletters out.
Even better, you get the functionality that you get on assign a URL in every single email you send out. So what happens is DISCO generates an individual email with an individual link for each playlist to all of your users. So every time you use the email creator, you're going to get individualized access stats for every recipient.
Yeah, and we'll get into the stats of what you see after you send an email just after this, because that is one of the major things that people like about it. Notice our button is looking a bit weird down here. I can always change the button text to, well, language. And maybe I want the colors to match. The position of the button, maybe you want it in the middle. Now, this is taking up a whole lot of space in my email. I may, instead of having the whole playlist listed out like this, you can just choose to add a button instead. So I drag on the button type block, edit that. Link the playlist to it. Maybe I want to make it the entire width, so I'll do that. Ugh, that's a great color. I recommend better colors than these. And so you can just keep going and going. Let's add another text column, 3 images. It can be like 1 billion miles long. Something that I really, really recommend, don't actually compose. Why does it keep doing that? Let's do it here. Don't compose the email in the email creator, because while I'm typing, I might accidentally do that. Oh, I hit the trash, and I just deleted that block from this email, and there's literally nothing I can do to get it back. So all the work I did in writing this beautiful emails just vanished. So write the email and the content somewhere else, and then just copy and paste it in here. That is going to save you a lot of agony. A few other things to note: you can drag blocks around to put everything into a different order as you want. You can duplicate if you really want to emphasize. Obviously trash, editing, rearranging. So that's building an email. Check out this little area, settings, background color. So that's the entire email. You can set a background, edit, so editing the whole email's padding horizontally and vertically, and font size. And lastly, the footer has actually got all your different social media links. With a little social media button. This is the only place you can add social media buttons though, so it's going to relate back to your company. It's if you had 10 artists in this email, you can't actually put social media links for each of them. That is another block that we do need to create.
Doug has a really, really good question. Yeah, this is like real good. Okay.
Go, Doug, go.
So when you send blasts out, is the text inside the body of the email searchable when someone is searching for keywords in their email?
I'm actually testing it right now.
Okay. I do not know if that's true or not. I hope
we
it
don't
is.
know, but we're going to find out real soon.
Yeah, that is a good question.
Thanks for stumping us, Doug.
Yeah,
I'm going to assume that it is, but assumption.
I have one to test right here because I'm on a bunch of your mass email blasts, so I have lots of emails I can search.
And then while we're waiting for that, can you just quickly go over merging tabs again, Tim?
Merging which?
Tabs.
I don't know if I understand what that means.
Karen, are you referring to merging like blocks in here or merge? Oh, maybe she means tags. What she meant?
Oh,
blocks. Yeah, she might mean tags. We will send you something. I don't think we'll go back to that, but we'll send you something to review that.
And yes, Doug, have confirmed that every bit of the playlist is searchable. So if the music supervisor is searching for your track title and your track title is just in your playlist, that does come back in an email search.
So
at least
all this text.
I've not tested Outlook, so if someone else wants to test that. Also, Tim should talk about sending test emails to yourself because this is really important.
Yes,
back on
indeed.
the Edit Content tab.
Yeah, so right here at the top, always send a test.
Always.
One thing that people sometimes get though is that the test goes to spam.
Right. So because the email creator, the test sends with a big all caps test with brackets around it, and a lot of emails identified that as being a spammy piece of data. It's important for us to leave that in there because we don't want you to lose sight of the fact that that was just a test later when you go back through your emails and see, hey, what did I send out? If you included yourself on the email list, you want to be able to see the difference between the test email you sent yourself and the real email you sent out. So we're going to leave that on there, but it could go to spam. That doesn't mean the real email is going to spam. It means the fact that we put test in brackets, all caps, irritates your email provider.
Yeah, and keep that in mind just generally, guys. Email is a magical science as far as delivery goes. So research how to not get email sent to spam, like, not using super clickbait type subject lines. And there are all sorts of different rules that you should teach yourselves if you're going to be getting into email marketing, which is essentially how this entire industry promotes itself. So, get ahead of the curve and go out and learn about the best practices for bulk emails.
MailChimp has some really good articles on this. So if you go to MailChimp, a knowledge base, and you search their articles, how can I increase my email delivery, you're going to get some amazing tips.
So then the last tab is the confirm and send. This is kind of like what this email is going to look like. Right here, I can edit recipients. It takes me back to the first tab. If you click on any of these, it just links you. Edit the subject. Really a great looking email. I don't think anyone would turn their nose up if they received this. Unique color palette. So send. You'll get this warning. Are you sure? Yes, and go. And your email is gone. So let's go back here and look at the stats. So we're looking at our email, I guess, list of campaigns. And you can see that out of these, only one has been sent. And this is the little stats button. So let's open that up. Total email opens, 3, and that's 100%. Clicks. Those are the usual things you'll get from any email sending platform. Over here is where it gets interesting. So imagine that this is 1,000 people, all broken out with their names. You'd see the active ones at the top, and then just remember to expand. Number of email opens by each person, page opens, so that's actually clicking the link. Track streams, so I can hover over the number and it will show me the names of the tracks and how many times they were streamed from any track in any playlist in this email, because there might have been 10 playlists. Exactly the same for track downloads, it's from any playlist, and then actual playlist downloads, it'll tell you which playlist was downloaded and how many times. So that's a much, much deeper look into the stats or understanding of the people that you're emailing and how they're interacting, or if they're interacting with your emails. We have a few sort of general things here, like most streamed tracks, most downloaded, playlist downloads, total streams. So it's just a quick view, most clicked links. Again, how do I get there? I go into the email creator area. There are the stats, and I'm back here. I've got the duplicate email option right here and view content, right? I want to look at this email again. What did it look like? That one's a little nicer. Okay. Any questions about emails and stats?
A couple came up, but they're both no answers, but I'll just let everyone know what they are. Being able to see how large the email is before you send it. Not in here, but something I feel like is valuable. Robin, anything to jump in on about that?
If you send yourself a test email, you'll be able to see if it hits the Google limit. So there's a Google limit of how much email that it's going to show in the text, and before you have to click through to view this in browser. I think it's 192 kilobytes, but I don't know why I think that. So that is just the number that's popping into my head, but it could be a completely unrelated number. In any event, Gmail specifically has a limit to how much of the email they will show, especially in mobile. And beyond that, you have to click to view the text this in the browser. So if you send yourself a test email, you will know if you've hit that, because you won't be able to see all of the email. You'll have to go view the rest in the browser.
Right.
Awesome.
And was there another no answer?
Yeah, next no one, and then there's actual responses to the rest. Is there a way to send a follow-up email only to people who opened or viewed the newsletter, other than manually looking at the stats? There's not a way to do that. No automated email follow-ups in DISCO yet. Maybe we will do that one day. But yeah, you'll have to just do a manual work there.
Really important one, and you catch support people on a good day. This is a thing we can do for you specifically. So if we have time, which is a terrible answer, but ask us. Say, I'd like a list of the people who engaged with this email in an email list, and see if we can grab that for you real quick.
Awesome.
A couple others real quick. Getting blank contacts in the stats for most engaged users, but they can't say who they're from. So wanting to know what that means. And this, I'm guessing that is from someone forwarding an email off to someone, and then the stats aren't linked to someone.
I think it's specifically an unsubscribe or or an unsubscribe. But I'll go check again the exact. I'm gonna go look at the exact picture, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Right on.
And then again, duplicating an email is for making a copy of that email. If you like the template that you've already made, you can just copy that and then make some edits from there, so you don't have to rebuild the entire thing.
Yep, duplicate right here. And then you've got a whole new one to work off of. Okay, let's move on.
Yep.
We're cranking through the time, so we've got to do this.
I know.
All right, let's see. I'm going to go to reports. Everyone likes to do reports. They're so much fun. Let's do some super common reports. My boss wants to know what's been pitched in the last month or so. Let's say last 90 days. So reports are all based on show me all playlists that were pitched within some time period or created. So last 90 days, we'll choose that. That include maybe some specific metadata. We're doing a broad pitch report, so we're not going to limit it. Filters. So how can I differentiate between any playlist that was created in the last 90 days versus playlists that were actually sent as some form of a pitch? One is that you have a pitch log channel, and every playlist that you send out the door is saved to that pitch log. And then you can filter by it. Choose pitch log. So that's all playlists from the last 90 days in the pitch log channel. Another really helpful filter, if you aren't using a pitch log channel, is client lists. That's the little client, this is the client checkbox. As you save a playlist, when you check that box, it is immediately viewed as a client list and can be used as a filter when you create the report. And lastly, you could filter by playlist tags. So what we recommend is that you might tag your playlists with the type of media, trailer, TV, film, ad, or commercial video game. So if you wanted to say all playlists last 90 days that were pitched to trailers, I now have a way to filter for that. More options. I can choose to include the access information, the recipients I sent to. Any of these just become columns in the report, and let's preview it. Notice that the preview is just a limited look at the report, and you do need to download it to get the full thing. Playlist title, date created, all the tracks in that playlist, artist and album. The shared with just appears as one big list. So the formatting is a little bit clunky. I recommend pulling it out as a CSV and then digesting the information there. And then next to each track on that list over here, track, we have the actual streams or downloads. So that is my report with those rules. The other report is an obvious one. My artist is asking me, have I been pitching them lately? So in that case, I would say last 90 days or whatever time period. The metadata field I want to report on is the artist. Use these guys all the time. Again, I'm filtering by my pitch log. I don't actually care about what type of media they were sent in. And I'm not going to include these things in this report. There we go, let's preview. And there you go. So this report only shows songs by this artist in this particular playlist. There are other songs in this playlist, but I only wanted to see the ones that are by racing. And that's my pitch report for that band. You could do that on the title of a track a lyric, all the playlists that include songs with the lyric love. For a composer, if you use the writers tab, then you could feature a writer. You could do just a playlist title. Some people are like, oh, I need to get all the metadata from all the songs that are in this one playlist. That's great. Or you just make that playlist, copy the title and paste it in here. And then obviously the timeline doesn't matter in that case. Come down here and check all these boxes and then export and see all of these metadata fields appear in that report. Oops. So that's a real quick look at reports. Let's jump on to playlist security. So in the share area, security tab, password protect. So I can add a password here. I obviously have to send that to the person that I'm sharing a playlist with. If I share this one playlist with 50 people, they will all have the same password, but there is a password at least. Obviously they can share the password and that defeats the purpose. Link expiry. So this playlist URL is gonna die at some point in the future if I choose to do this. I don't recommend ever expiring a link. You never know that a supervisor or whoever you're sending to isn't gonna come back in 2 years and want to use this music. And if you expired the link, then it's no good. So only use this in very, very specific situations. Another helpful thing around security is the assigning a URL to a contact. This is not watermarking, which we are building, but this is pretty close in some ways. I will create a new URL for every single person that I want to send this playlist to. So you can see I've already done that for a lot of people here, and they each have a unique URL, which I can copy and send to them. In the stats for this playlist, I can see a breakout of all those people and what they're doing. Let's just say that Dawn here has downloaded 10,000 times. So maybe she shared it somewhere. And in most cases, that would be great news because people actually like the music. But this might be something that's unreleased. So I can just click this disable link option and now Dawn no longer has access to that URL, but everyone else that I've shared this playlist with, and they all have their own URLs, they still have access. Because the only other way would be to straight up just delete this playlist so it no longer exists. That's how I would have to stop the access. So I can also re-enable it if I like. So those are a couple of security features around sharing playlists. Just to link back to the contact database, when you assign URLs to contacts, it adds the playlist onto their contacts activity area. So if we go into the contacts, click on the name, activity, these are the playlists that have been assigned to the amazing supervisor. So that is how the assigning URLs, also emailing out of Disco, whether it's a bulk email or emailing in the share area, does the same thing. It assigns the playlist to this person. The next thing we want to look at is around alias metadata. Actually, I'm going to start in the settings. So alias metadata, go into settings, metadata. This is more of a music supervisor thing, but there are various purposes that are helpful for rights holders as well. I may decide that I only ever want to share the artist and album field, and I never want composer, genre grouping, and comments to travel with the songs when I send them to people. So in my metadata settings, if I do this, it means that no matter what I send out, those fields will always just be blank for the recipient when they download those files or add them to their Disco. So this is a blanket setting across my whole account. Robin, correct me if I'm wrong, but this only applies to me, the user. And if Katrina's also in this account using it, that she would have to set this up herself as well.
That's right, including the custom message. So the custom message will append to comments every time the playlist is downloaded, provided that you are the playlist owner. So if you have contact information in here, make sure that everyone who expects contact information to be downloaded on the track also has their contact information in the custom message.
Yeah, so this is the comments metadata field on all of my tracks. By filling this out, it automatically writes this into the comments when those songs are downloaded. And obviously, if I create the playlist, it writes my information. If Katrina creates the playlist, it'll write whatever she's put here in her settings.
Keep in mind also that this box prepends to existing comments. So if you're also downloading the comments that are on the track, this comes first. And iTunes and Finder both have a 256 character limit in comments and in no other metadata field. So if I saw this custom message of Tim's, I would have a little chat with him about how he's going to run out of characters because his custom message is too long. Tim.
Yeah, so this is going to essentially mean that other things in the comments field just are never delivered because and that's only regarding Finder and
They're
iTunes.
Delivered, right. They are present on the track, they're delivered, but they won't be viewable in Finder or iTunes.
Yeah, fortunately, if it's sent to another Disco account, everything is there. So we're in settings, we're on the metadata tab, and we have deselected these fields because we never ever want them to travel with my track. And I could even go so far as to remove those and only put in the comments. One other thing to note here is by deselecting this comments field, it means that any existing comments will not be delivered, but everything here is going to be written into the comments at the point of download. If I keep this selected, then this will still be written into the comments field, but existing comments are going to follow after it, whatever you've got in there. So that is one part of what we call alias metadata settings, even though the word alias doesn't appear anywhere except for one place. So there's a second aspect to alias metadata, and that is when we are saving a playlist, you will notice there is a metadata tab. And this is where I can start playing with the metadata for just this playlist. Now, if I'd left the settings before with all these things unchecked, then by default, when I came here, they would actually still be unchecked. It would have looked like this. But I rechecked them before I left. So right now, as I'm sending this particular playlist, I could say, you know what? I don't want the genre to travel. This is a compilation. This is the best use case for a rights holder. Compilation, summer 2020. All the artist fields, well, it's saying racing because these are all the songs by that artist. If it was a mixture of songs, obviously this would just say mixed. I can change the artwork for everything here. And again, we've got these other fields. The other side of this is edit individually. I might want to put listening cues into the title of every song that's relevant to this particular brief that I am sending for. And on and on. Let's save this and take a look at what it looks like. That's the client version that I was talking about for reporting. Okay, what does my playlist look like? So on my playlist, the titles of the songs now have these cues. The album has been changed because I did that across every single track. And what's really, really important to know about this is this has only been affected on these songs for this particular playlist. When I come back into Disco to the browse and I look at the playlist, it's got the original metadata here in Disco. If I want to see my alias metadata, I have to go into the track metadata. And in just a second, a little alias thing is going to pop up. Show aliases. So on all these different playlists, this is how I've changed the title, artist, and album fields. So this is the most recent one here. But it has not affected the metadata on these tracks and every other playlist that they live in. The alternative to using this particular feature is that you would have to download all of the files onto your computer, duplicate them all, change all the metadata, and then upload them and send them out. That's the only other way that you can change the metadata for just one playlist one time. You actually have to copy all of the files, change it, and re-upload it. So this is a massive time-saving tool for people that do need to constantly change metadata or mask. I don't want the end user to know what the artist or album information is. But inside of Disco, for what I see, I need to see who the artist is and obviously what their information is. Any questions about alias metadata? We're just like, we're basically over time, although I want to show you one more thing.
I know. No questions.
We didn't even get to my part.
I know.
We'll get to it. We'll do it.
Hopefully people can stick around for just a wee bit longer. I want to look at one.
We could have another one in the series, right? How about we poll? Do you guys want to have a like a heavy data specific call later, or do you want me to try and cram my bit about your amazing, or how to give us metadata?
Pam.
Okay, well, Pam rules because she's like, don't worry about going over time. No one has anything to do. Let's just keep going. And if you want to leave, leave. We are recording this and we are going to send it to everyone.
Perfect. Okay, so look, we'll go into the data stuff and we'll do another session just to talk about it even more in depth. Right now, what I want to jump to, or someone was just asking about the background of the playlist. That is the playlist theme. In case you aren't familiar, guys, I'll just quickly throw some tracks. Save. As you save a playlist, there are themes. You create your own by going down here, create new theme, and it's just two images, a background image and a logo image. So definitely create a theme that's unique to your company and have that set as your default. But then every single playlist you ever send, you can create a different theme if you like to customize the look. So that's how you change the background image and this logo image. Those are the theme. And this message, just in case you didn't know, is this message area here. And it's just sitting there on the playlist. Okay, so the next thing I want
should we go? Oh, sorry. Are we going to do merging duplicates and then move on?
I was going to jump to custom fields, or should I do? I'll do custom fields really fast.
Yeah,
do it quick.
And we'll do merge duplicates in the data session.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so Disco has the option for you to add custom fields for any purpose whatsoever. Most people won't see this tab because it hasn't been turned on or set up on their DISCO account, but know that it can be there. And it can be, there's a range of different types of fields. So we've got checkboxes, which essentially are saying a yes, no, or a true, false option, which you can filter by, which is really nice. You can filter and search any of these fields if you want. Common things are like sounds like, lyrical themes. You can have drop downs. Maybe we want to talk about the status of a song. Start, like a license start and end date. This is, this is pretty clunky because if you had 50 licenses for this song, we would need to recreate these over and over and over. Our team has to build these custom fields out for you. So we kind of talk about it and then we map it out. It's a bit of a project to do. They can be imported and have data, imported and exported to them. Publishing catalog. So maybe there's different catalogs I work with and I want to be able to choose which catalog that this song belongs to. Splits, just around like, we've got 50% of this publishing and we've got 100% of the master. Date released, obviously a super common one. Date fields in general, really helpful. When was this submitted to us? When did we register it with all the different PROs? UPCs, ISRCs, ISWC. The ISRC is also a metadata field. And what's tight is, I can add the numbers here. Is it going to do it? Yeah, and this is actually linked. So it updates as the front updates as well on the lyrics page. Basically, anything you want to do with custom information, we can give you text fields, drop-down menus, checkboxes, dates, number fields. So one thing is storing the information. The other thing is viewing the information. So I want to go to my little info hover, and on our info hover on any one track, we can choose which fields we see here. So I really want to know if something is one stop right off the bat, if it's explicit, its release date. So I've chosen these fields. How do I do that? We've covered this in other webinars, but I'll just do it quickly. Open the settings. In this app settings area, choose the info to display on your track hover. And you can remove these and add them back in whatever order that you want. And all the custom fields appear as options that can be on that info hover. So that's one thing you can do. And then the last thing is in search, all those fields can be set so that they're searchable when you search in the search bar. They can also be added to this drop down if you ever want to filter by them. So obviously filtering by one stop is true or is false. I could add another thing here, explicit. And so this is how you can filter by your custom fields when you're doing an advanced search. So that's the quick look at custom fields. Let's do a quick look at merging duplicates. I have a feeling that I've got a duplicate in here. No. Here we go. Okay, if you find duplicate files, that's a hassle. Now, some people think, oh, I'll just delete this duplicate. Well, if you did, we can see that this song appears in 5 playlists. If I just simply delete it, it will be gone from all of those 5 playlists and everywhere else it is in DISCO. And in this version, it's only in 1 playlist. I want to merge these together. So I highlight them both, holding Shift, just like every other computer program on the universe, in the universe, across the universe. Once you highlight things in DISCO in this way, an actions menu will appear. I could edit them if I want to edit the metadata, add them to a channel, but I want to merge. So I can look at the metadata on each of these files, and they're identical. So I just choose the one that I want to keep, merge. Yes, let's merge. So now there's one, and it's in 6 playlists. So I didn't lose its place, but I combined it. Now let's do a slightly more complex one. We'll just assume that these are the identical track. But what I know about these is that they have got multiple formats. So when I choose with this blue checkbox, see the MP3 that's selected keeps changing? So that's the metadata and the MP3 file that I'm looking at. But I might want this wave because it's like the newest version. This is actually the bad way to do this. So I'm just going to assume that these are identical wave and MP3. It's just that I have 2 duplicate versions. So I want to keep these ones and then merge that one into here. And then I would just merge. I could select that wave if I want to keep it. Maybe it was an eighth and I wanted an eighth instead of a wave, but it is the same audio. Just make sure that in this case, it is the same actual audio on that wave that matches the MP3. What if I have a new wave and I want to replace the existing one on this track? That's where we go into Manage Files and Formats. So I click on the track menu, Manage Files and Formats, Wave, Replace. Then I just drop my new version or new master or whatever it might be, and I drop it on here. When I do that, I don't have one to throw on here as an example, but it is going to give me the option to retranscode the audio of the MP3. And I definitely want to do that because if I don't retranscode the audio of the MP3, then I'm going to have a wave that has one nice new audio and the MP3 will just be the old audio that was sitting there in the first place. And I'd have no way of knowing that that wave's audio is different from that MP3's audio unless I downloaded both or downloaded the wave and listened to it. So make sure that when you replace the wave that you transcode its audio to replace the MP3's audio, because you can see there is an MP3 sitting here. And then you wouldn't have to replace the MP3 audio. It would just be done for you. Right? This does not affect the metadata in any way. We're just playing with audio here. So just a reminder, how did I get there? I went to the track, the song, clicked on its menu, Manage Files and Formats, Replace. If I replace that
Mike has a really,
yeah, no, it's all right.
Finish it.
No, I'm done.
Well, Mike has a good question. Is checking that the audio files are identical a manual process, or does DISCO compare the files on like an audio matching level?
DISCO's not doing anything in that regard. Yeah, you would have to know that they are the same yourself. So, yes.
Maybe one day, hopefully.
Like we are doing audio fingerprinting now, which is part of the auto tagging system that we have, which tags your songs for you with tags just like these. So I think that we'll start utilizing the audio fingerprinting that is in place in other ways in the future, especially to help with duplicates. It's just we have to build some tool to actually do that effectively. Merge, replace audio, custom fields, alias, share security reporting. We've covered everything that I wanted to cover today.
Yep.
Questions or thoughts on?
Ooh, if I upload a replacement wave, is the transcoding of the MP3 automatic? When you
upload, you'll see if you do it in the replace option area, yeah, manage files and formats, it will have a checkbox that says transcode MP3 or something, that is checked by default, I'm pretty certain.
It is.
Yeah, so as long as that's checked,
Cool.
then yes, you can assume that it's automatic. If you uploaded a new wave on the upload area, that it will create an MP3 automatically. And then you would be in a case where you'd be merging the two files. And if you did merge them, then you would need to keep the new upload because that's the new audio. In that case, it's always better to replace with this option instead of merge.
Yep, and there's a question about the quality of MP3s. The default is 160. If you wish to have your MP3s transcode at 320, we can do that. That is on a pro level plan, but you can just hit us up and we can talk about that and retranscode all of your MP3s as well.
And we can only retranscode them if you uploaded waves that created MP3s. If you uploaded just MP3s, we cannot retranscode those for you. But obviously you would have had control of the quality of that MP3 when you uploaded it in the first place. Because we don't transcode an MP3 to a lower quality MP3. It's only on a high-res wave or AIF that we create an MP3, and that transcoding process is what creates a 160K MP3. And that was always originally about speed, listening back really fast, and storing metadata.
Yeah, and it plays back faster in the browser as well because it doesn't have to load as.
But we do understand that the quality is definitely like half the quality of a 320K MP3, and that drives some people up the wall.
We're getting a lot of questions about auto tagging, which is great. People asking about how you get access to auto tagging. Hit us up on support, and we will chat with you about how it works to add that to your plan. There's also a site we can direct you to for you to check out the caliber of tags. And then, yeah, we can just run through it really, really quickly. But Bob is also inquiring about any plans to expand the auto tagging vocabulary, which is yes, it is an ongoing expansion of new words that the AI is learning. So we set it up to train based on the most commonly used tags in sync, crowdsourced from music supervisors and sync teams. So it started with most commonly used genres, instruments, vocals, moods and fields, tempo, BPM. I mean, having your tracks automatically tagged with BPM alone is like a huge godsend in my opinion. So what you can do once this is added to your library is add additional tags or remove tags if you see fit. And when you do that, it's sending messages back to the AI to learn a new tag and then can reapply the new vocabulary as it sees fit, not only on your DISCO library, but this is across all DISCO libraries globally. So it's really creating like a consistent set of tags for the industry.
Yeah, so just, to really clarify, it learns from every action you take. Removing and adding tags here, it is listening and watching if you have it turned on, obviously. And everyone across DISCO that has it and is doing that is training it. So once we have a big enough sample set, like 10,000 plus versions of psychedelic, then it's like, oh, I know what psychedelic is, and that will be added to the vocabulary. And then because it's always connected to your tracks, it will just automatically be like, oh, this is psychedelic. I now know that word and I can apply it to these tracks. Even if you started with auto tags 3 months ago, as new vocab is added, it will just put those words onto those tracks. It would never put back tags that you have removed, just so you know. But the very basic setup for getting auto tags is write to us, hi, I want to try auto tags. First thing we're going to do is send you to this page. Cool, drop some SoundCloud URLs or YouTube, and see what tags it applies. So you can get an understanding of what it's going to do. The next thing we can do is add an auto tag channel into your account that has a cap, like 50 tracks. You can drop some tracks into it and see the tags appear and see what the quality is like on your music, and do some searches. Then when you go to subscribe for auto tags, you can either choose to have your entire library part of auto tags. So everything's tagged that's in there already. As you upload new files, they are tagged instantly. Or you can say, I want to control which songs are tagged and which songs are not tagged, in which case you just operate it with this channel and you just throw songs into it and they will be tagged. Everything that you left out of that channel is not tagged. A major part that is coming very soon is the Similarity Search, which will allow you to essentially, this will exist in DISCO's search bar, where you can drop in videos and SoundCloud links. It scans that file and then looks through your library to deliver results. That is still being trained at the moment, and it's a difficult process. So that's a bit about auto tags. Write to us on support and we can get you all the pricing and stuff. Just understand it is an add-on component that costs more money, a lot more money than a DISCO base plan, because it's an extremely expensive tool to build and maintain. So yeah, talk to us about it and you'll see how it can add the value. What other questions have we got?
Meter information, which I honestly, that's out of my zone. I don't know what that means, but how the BPM would appear for odd meters.
BPM is BPM. I guess, yeah, if it's 12/8 or something, that you can feel that in different ways. It's gonna probably go for the most straight ahead, and that is where BPM, you'll see some variation, because sometimes it will appear at a third of the speed for some meters.
Yeah, now I want to go try a bunch of different funky meters and see what I get.
Yeah.
15.7.
I mean, it's really, really good at anything that's straight ahead. But if it's really washed out in production, like it's really delayed and ambient or a lot of reverb, sometimes it doesn't catch on to the beat very well. Like, remember, guys, this is a computer. It's 80 to 90% accurate, but it's not perfect, and it's unlikely that it'll ever be perfect. But it still adds an enormous amount of information to your tracks that is very helpful. But there are going to be cases where you'll have to fix the data because it's not as smart as a human. It's faster in a lot of ways, though.
I think we can move on or wrap up. It's been almost an hour and a half. So thank you guys for sticking around.
Yeah, we'll definitely do a session that's a heavy data session. We'll do something about like bulk uploading and importing and kind of like getting into the nitty gritty of editing your metadata on spreadsheets and how we can help with that in some ways. And this is Robin's specialty and passion.
Watch me get excited about data.
So yeah, maybe we'll do that next week.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because there seems to be a hunger for it.
There is a hunger. Thank you guys so much for all the love you're shooting our way and for
up and chatting with us. Oh my God.
I know.
It was great to see the popping Q&A. That was amazing.
I know.
Oh, DISCO has an iOS phone app now in beta. So if you want access to it, just write to support and ask for the phone app, and we can send you the links.
Lots of information about what you like and what you don't like about it.
Yeah, you have to give us feedback.
That's the qualification. We will come to your house and socially distancing yell at you for feedback. We'll
Awesome.
call to you from the street. How do you like Disco's iOS?
All right. Well, thanks a lot, everybody.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
We will be in touch soon with the next webinar, and we'll send out the recording of this one.
Yes, have a good weekend, everyone.
Cheers.
Bye.
And